Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for this webinar today. My name is Annalene Zeely. I'm a member of the LEAP content team based in New South Wales. Today's webinar will be focusing on how you can get the most out of running your family law matters in LEAP. Like other LEAP educational webinars, this webinar will run for approximately 30 minutes and will be conducted in listen mode only. Throughout this webinar, please feel free to type any questions into the GoToWebinar question feature. We may not be able to respond to all questions in today's session. However, we will collate the questions into an FAQ document, which will be sent out to you with a recording of this webinar session. All LEAP webinars are recorded and available for you in LEAP community and on the LEAP YouTube channel. Our content team includes a team of productivity specialists together with LEAP's forms editors and content developers who are based in our Melbourne office. The forms editors maintain over 6,000 pre-configured automated legal forms across Australia. They are continuously working with our content developers to further enhance functionality and automation of these forms, providing ease of use and consistency for thousands of law firms daily. Productivity specialists assist LEAP users to ensure our clients are utilizing the automated legal forms correctly and provide training on the bylawyers guides and precedents. The bylawyers guides and precedents are integrated with LEAP and are managed and maintained by the bylawyers team. This team consists of more than 30 practicing solicitors, barristers and licensed conveyancers who provide access to more than 6,000 legally drafted precedents. During our webinar today, you will learn about critical and important information that is required in your LEAP matters to ensure your legal forms are operating effectively, unique functionality of some of our commonly used forms, quick tips about the bylawyers, family law guides and precedents, how to access and keep up to date with legal rates and charges, and how to request assistance and provide feedback. I would now like to introduce my colleague Bryony McDonald, who will take you through on how to set up a family law matter within LEAP.
Thanks, Annalene. LEAP has spent over 20 years accumulating fields of information, which are then organised into relevant matter types for common areas of law across Australia. This intellectual property will immediately improve your matter management and document production and reduce the risk of mistakes all at the same time. No other system provides pre-configured matter types with such level of detail. Within family law alone, there are nearly 1,000 legally drafted precedents and forms available to you. Let's start by looking at the different family law matter types and important data that is required in LEAP and what they can be used for. From your matter in LEAP, you can select the relevant matter types. With family law, you have the choice of multiple matter types, including children, divorce, family law general, financial agreement, independent children's lawyer, property and children, property and financial settlement. After choosing the relevant matter type, you can then select the card type for the client and the other side. Here you can select the husband or perhaps the wife. For demonstration purposes, we have chosen a property and children matter from within LEAP. The following matter data information is important prior to you creating any of the forms and precedents. The more data you enter into your matter, the more time you'll save when drafting the forms and precedents. When you are completing your client card, don't forget to include the date of birth details of the parties. So from your card, click onto the People tab to complete the date of birth, bottom left, and place of birth, bottom right. If you require an occupation, tax file number, or Medicare number, this is found in Details or the Custom tab. We click Save and Close there. Now, working down through the matter, you will need to complete 4 important tables for all of the family law precedents to complete properly. We've got the critical family law details, court with court details, marriage de facto separation, a child with child's details. By completing all of these details, the court forms will automatically mark a cross in the appropriate checkbox and form, as you will not be able to insert it manually later. Let's now start looking into the critical family law table. Select who you're acting for here. For example, the respondent. If the matter is being run simultaneously in another court, you may select the role, for example, the plaintiff. You can also choose to keep your client's address confidential by selecting No here. Under proceeding details, you can add where the proceedings are being heard, the description of the proceedings, and the act for which the proceedings fall. You also have the option to customize your list as well here. Next, you need to complete the court table. You can do this by right-clicking and selecting a court from the card list. For these purposes, we are selecting the Family Court of Australia and press select at the bottom. After adding the court, number will appear. This is where you can complete the court number appropriate for this matter. Next, we'll fill in the marriage de facto separation table. This needs to be completed with as much detail as possible. If you do not have the exact date of cohabitation, you can complete the month and the year only, date of marriage if applicable, and date of separation. Again, that does not have to be exact, it can be the year and the month. Should there be children involved in this matter, complete the card and also ensure their date of birth details are entered. So once again, just pop to the People tab, date of birth on the bottom left and place of birth on the bottom right. Once the card for the child has been completed, you will need to enter the child's details. This will only appear after you've actually nominated a child for this matter. Parents' details need to be completed together with any representative of the child and the child's housing details where they are applicable. To access the Family and Federal Circuit Court forms, you will need to click on the Guides and Precedents button from the top and then pop into Browse. These forms are located under the LEAP Forms folder. For our clients in Western Australia, you will have access to a specific suite of Family Court and Federal Circuit Court forms. We will now take a look at two important forms, namely the financial statement and the application for consent orders. Let's firstly start with the application for consent orders. This can be found again in the LEAP Forms folder. LEAP displays an initial dialog box. Just note not to cancel out of this dialog box without selecting the type of orders that you require. This will show and hide the relevant parts within the form, dependent on what orders you may choose. If you are unsure, select all three and you can always return and unselect the order which you do not require. For the purposes of this webinar, I am going to select all three boxes and press OK. Firstly, in your LEAP ribbon up on the top left-hand corner of your screen, you will find the Family Law tab. This is where you can access the built-in calculators extending to specific paragraphs within the document. You will note here at parts C to I, they will appear depending upon the orders you have actually selected for the form. You can easily add additional rows of information through expandable fields, and this will actually save you time when creating the document. Part A of the form will automatically populate the details of the parties, including their occupations, date of birth, and country of birth. You can have up to 2 applicants and 2 respondents within this form. Part B cannot be completed manually, which is why it is important to complete the marriage de facto separation table from the beginning, as it will automatically bring through the details and complete the appropriate checkbox in the bottom right-hand corner. If we move down to Part C, this information will populate from the critical family law details, especially if your matter is being heard in another court. If you have more than 2 courts, you can pop up to the Family Law ribbon top right-hand corner, click on Part C, and at this point, you can add more courts if required. If we move down to Part D, this relates to children and is broken into two parts. The child's information will draw from the child card and will include the date of birth. From child's details, this will populate the primary caregiver. For example, in this form, we have a mother, and a maximum of 8 children can be included within this form. At Part E, if you select the orders which relate to children's orders, the LEAP application for consent orders will automatically insert Section 65DA clause relevant for children in this part at question 22 here, as well as inserting the relevant fact sheet at the end of the document. So now let's just show you what the fact sheet looks like at page 25. If we pop back up to Part F and you select the option for property and maintenance, this will show parts H and I relating to property and maintenance and will populate with the words not applicable for Part F. If you select the option for parenting, this smart document will show Part F, details for parenting orders, and hide parts H and I relating to property and maintenance. Moving on to Part H is where you will see the smarts built into this form. Again, let's go to the family law ribbon at the top of the page. If you require more rows at any time, you can click on the appropriate sections and add. Once you have completed all of the required information, you simply click on the calculate button on the far left. This form will automatically calculate the totals for all of the sections for which you have completed, including the net worth where it is applicable, therefore eliminating the need for you to manually calculate this form. If you realise you have made a mistake and require assistance with deleting or adding an additional item, you can either reactivate the dialog box containing the questions and change either of the figures. You can reselect the orders required or pop to the Family Law tab here. Just a reminder to always recalculate the document once you have added or deleted any of the information. For example, you may change the property from 2 to 3 or vice versa. Here you have seen that number 3 will pop up in the property details. As we move to Part J, you will see the statement of truth for each party. This form caters for up to 2 statements of truth for the applicant, respondent, and third-party respondent. Once you have finalised all of the calculations, pop back to the LEAP tab and click Time, Save and Close to create a time entry for the document and save it back to your matter. Now let's move on to the financial statement. LEAP has used similar functionality to that of the application for consent orders to make it easier for you to complete this form. With the financial statement, there are 2 common questions our clients express, including difficulty in formatting the documents, particularly to allow additional rows, and the time to recalculate the form, should changes be required. Our content team have developed functionality which overcomes these frustrations for you. Now that the document has opened, we'll pop up to the LEAP ribbon and find that same Family Law tab. This is where you can access the built-in calculators extending to the specific paragraphs in the document, the same as the application for consent orders. By clicking on parts D to Part L, you can easily add additional rows of information through the same expandable field options. Let's click on Part D. A pop-up will appear with options to format rows regarding income from investments, a business, or government incentives. These questions allow you to choose the individual parts you wish to expand within the form. So let's just add 2 additional investment incomes and press OK. You will see here that the form is automatically expanded for you. Let's look at how we can enter amounts into the financial statement. In this example, we'll enter $1,500 for the average weekly amount. It's important to note that you do need to click on the grey text box to enter the information. This ensures that the amounts will calculate properly. Another requirement is that each figure is to be entered in whole dollar amounts. For example, if a figure is $1,500.50, it technically should be rounded to the nearest dollar. For any amount that is estimated, you will need to insert the letter E with a space before the amount. Let's insert E, space, $250.40. In case you overlook rounding up, the smarts in the financial statement here will automatically round up for you. So once you have inserted all of the necessary figures into the financial statement for each of the relevant questions, pop back up to the Family Law tab and click Calculate on the far left-hand side. The other important note is that all questions with a dollar value column must have an answer. Any questions within the form which have not been answered with a dollar value amount will automatically populate with the word nil upon calculation. The statement will then automatically calculate a total for each part within the form. At the same time, the total figure of each part is automatically calculated, and the financial statement summary at Part B will show this on the form. You will see here as we put an estimated amount, the E has correctly shown up. Once you have finalised the calculations, again you can pop up to the LEAP tab and time save and close to create a time entry and save this document back to your matter. Now, we mentioned the Bylawyers Guides and Precedents earlier. Click on the Legal Guides tab up on the top. For those of you that do have bylawyers, you will see a well-organised structure of how to run a matter within this area of law, together with all commentaries, forms and precedents presented in a logical, sequential structure. The links in green are to commentary and the links in blue to the precedents and the forms. There is a library of family orders. You can find this under Settling It Early. You will locate the Library of Family Orders folder. This houses over 100 orders which relate to property, general, children, and superannuation. You will see at the end of this guide and all guides in Bylawyers, there is a further information section. This contains other useful resources which may be relevant to you. You will see here links to family courts, locations, legal aid, and community legal centres. As mentioned earlier, LEAP keeps your legal rates and charges up to date. You can view all the state-based and federal legal rates and charges by clicking on the Information tab on the top of your screen and Legal Rates, then choose your state. Our content team keep abreast of these changes for you. Another way to keep up to date with changes is by accessing the community page. If you click on the blue question mark on the top right-hand corner of your window and then pop onto the community page, this will open our community in a separate web browser. Scroll to the bottom and you will find a direct link to the LEAP Forms blog. Here you will have the option to subscribe to LEAP form updates which are specific to your state. You will be notified by a simple email when a regulation and a form reflecting same has been amended. All you need to do is simply register with your name and your email address. For those of you that have bylawyers, Obiter is a blog for the bylawyers community. Just like the LEAP Forms blog, Obiter is your way of keeping up to date and informed of changes that affect you in a practical way. Here you'll find legal alerts and publication updates similar to the LEAP Forms blog. And to register for this or subscribe to the mailing list, simply enter your email address and your name.
Thank you, Bryony. LEAP Forms and Obiter blogs are really popular with our clients in keeping up to date with changes. You can see the details of each blog on your screen now. It's time to take a look at some questions and answers and perhaps some feedback. We've got a question here asking, do blank amounts convert to the word nil as required by the courts? Yes, they do. As we'll go back into the financial statement, we'll just scroll down at this point and you will note that all the blank amounts do convert to nil. We've got another question here. How do I get my court code for my firm inserted into the court documents? Great question. We'll first go to our LEAP matter. We'll go up to Tools, Firm Details, and for this, we'll just choose our current firm. We'll go to Customer Numbers, and we'll add it into the federal section on the screen. For any other documents, you will see each state, it's got its own particular document numbers that you can enter. And this will populate directly through to the documents. We've got another question here. Can you change your client type after you have created the matter, for example, from wife to husband? Yes, you can. Simply click within your matter on matter type and then go and select on each card. So your client might be you've selected husband, but it might be the wife and you can change it to wife. And the other side would obviously be the husband. And click OK. Now you can see on the screen that that's changed around. We've got a last question here. How do we create cards for multiple children? You go onto the child, right click, and you can add new child if you haven't added a card. Otherwise, you can use add child from card list. So we'll click on new child. You'll complete the details here. As you can see, and it will create a second child. So if you have more than 2 children, you will follow the same procedure by right-clicking and add new card. I think this brings us now to the end of all our questions.
It does, Annalene, and thanks so much for answering those questions for clients. As always, should you need or require any further information about LEAP, please utilise the live chat from the LEAP community or feel free to email us at support@leap.com.au. Again, those details are on the screen right now, and we thank you for attending this webinar.